Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Paranormal Tuesday, episode 13 to be precise. I absolutely can't believe we've been going 13 weeks now. Absolutely amazing. So you might wonder about this episode today. It has been pre-recorded today on Monday due to a few of us being quite busy for tomorrow, but we thought we need to release the episode. So we have come together today to be able to release that for you and obviously talk about our experiences at roughly Asylum and of course Lancaster Cemetery, which we did last weekend, which many of you saw. So we'll be talking about our experiences there throughout both investigations, especially the Ridge Lea one, because that was quite intense and quite interesting. But before we do get into that, we are sponsored, of course, by Paranormal Technology, Paratech. You're not just buying equipment, you're buying experience. So make sure you check them out, everybody, on Facebook. And Mark, like I say, we'll look after you, and you get 10% off your first offer. Show them that you've liked Paranormal Living, and you do get 10% off your first offer. And as I say every week, all our equipment is from Mark, and it's absolutely fantastic. So please do make sure you check them out, everybody, on Facebook. So we are joined, of course, by Mr. Carl Blissett. Good evening, buddy. Good afternoon, should I say. How are you?
I'm good, mate. You? Hello, everybody.
Yeah. All good, mate. All good, thank you, buddy. And of course, it is Mr. Robert Dyer with us as well.
Hi guys, are you all right?
Yes, we're all good. We're all excited.
Brilliant.
So, as I mentioned, obviously we are talking about both experiences from last week at Ridge Lea and, of course, Lancaster Cemetery, which both investigations were quite interesting, which, like I said, we will get into. Just before we do get into that, everyone, we are literally 2 likes at this point of recording. Likes of 500, but we do have 600 followers. So 2 more likes, everybody, and then we can get this competition up and running for your chance to win some Paranormal Living merchandise. Also, as I did mention, once we get to 750 likes, there will be another prize, and then when we get to 1,000 likes on Facebook, there will be another prize where you get your chance to come on a full investigation with us, and we will take you to where we go and travel down to you if you live obviously quite far away where you don't mind travelling. So we will be there with you. So there's some great competitions coming up. So like I say, just make sure you like and share the page for us. That would be very, very much appreciated. And of course, don't forget to like the socials, Paranormal Living TV on YouTube, of course TikTok, Paranormal Living, and our Instagram, which is now running Paranormal Living on there. It's pretty straightforward. It's easy. Just search Paranormal Living and we'll come up. And of course, Instagram with sort of see behind the scenes where we've been, sort of places we're looking at to go as well. So make sure you go check it out on there as well. So guys, like I said, we've got a fun-filled episode today for everybody. So we'll start, of course, with Ridge Lea Asylum, which is this place.
Ooh, scary.
It was interesting. So guys, the footage will be released this week. Like I said, we are in a few issues with uploading for whatever reason, I do not know. But the footage will be released this week from Ridge Lea Asylum. So hopefully that'll be uploaded for you, because it was that spooky. Going in again, it might be interesting. But like I said, this is a place. What a place it was. The history, originally opened in 1816. And then closed in 2013. So what a mishmash of history, and so many people obviously have stayed there. It was like a psychiatric hospital towards the end, and very interesting place. But Carl, we will start with you, buddy, because you're at the top. So what were your first thoughts when we got to the asylum, once we're in the car and we're on our sort of way there, and then approaching the asylum? What was your original thoughts?
My original thoughts, I thought, was what an amazing place it was. It was really good, really intense atmosphere. It was really, really strong. I had a good feeling about it when we got there.
Yeah. What about you, Bob?
I felt like, how can I say? I felt like it was, to me, I felt a bit, well, what we're going to expect here? And I felt a bit sort of like, I'm nervous here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously, we know for a fact we're not really meant to be in this place. But like I say, we approached the situation and we dealt with it. Yeah, I thought it was a really good place to be, but I felt like we was being watched and there was things around us when we was in the building. It was mental, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, I totally agree there. Like a lot of, when you do see the footage, everybody, you'll understand about this place. So obviously, walking around the grounds before we entered into the building, it was quite eerie, but I felt quite calm. In all fairness, I was quite interested in just like you said, this building, just in awe of this building, literally standing on its own in the middle of a field, just nothing around it. And then obviously Bob mentioned that there is graves on the ground. People was buried on the ground, which makes sense because the cemetery, which is next door now, didn't open until, was it 1850s, wasn't it? I think it was.
Yeah.
So it does make sense that so that sort of makes you a bit apprehensive because obviously you don't know where you're walking, you don't know what you're walking on as such. And then obviously once we got into the building, the natural thing is it's dark, it's creepy. Obviously it's an abandoned hospital, and the history of this place. So obviously once we got in and then we got onto the main corridor, the length of this corridor, I don't think I realised how big this place is. Like, it's like just bringing up the picture again. Like, it looks big from outside, but until you're in it, it's even bigger than... It just reminds me of, when you go to a circus, you see the tent, but you go inside and it's bigger than what it looks like outside. This is sort of what it reminded me of. But when we stood in that corridor, you can see both ends of the building. And one bit's a bit darker than the other, but bits of it, it was quite something. Especially that first walkthrough. Yeah, so obviously once we got through to the walkthrough, as we were just walking round, I felt quite okay. But there were some parts, I think you both agree, where it feels eerier than other parts. So for example, when you're walking down the corridor, if you go in the dark bit, it might not feel that creepy, but you can go in the bit where it's full of sunlight and there's just something eerie about there. So it's not the fact that it is dark and whatever. But obviously, Bob, will obviously start with you on this one. Your first thoughts in that corridor, just to walk around, I thought it was a bit creepy.
I think it was the unexpected. I mean, you don't know what to expect. That's what I'm saying. We walked in there. We was going into the unknown, and I would say that we were going into the unknown. We didn't realise what we're going to come up against or whatever is going to happen. It's going to happen, but it was a fact of not knowing because we're looking at that place from the outside, and then when we get in there, it's a totally different kettle of fish. It's totally different. You know what I mean? It's absolutely mental. And I just found it like what we're approaching, what we're going to come across, but I found it really exciting at that stage as well. It was really crazy, lovely place.
Yeah. What about you, Carl?
Yeah, well, definitely different energies in different parts of the building. It was you could, like you said, you could go into the light part, feel somewhat darker, but then you got the dark part, you feel okay. But there was just something about the building I was in awe of. It was absolutely amazing. Really. You can imagine what went on there. You can imagine the atmosphere, the people that was in there.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, as we, of course, walked around the first part of the building, and then we ended up going down to the bottom of the left-hand side, didn't we, where we went into one of the rooms, which we gathered was sort of like a psychiatric room because... obviously it was plastic bed, and there was literally nothing in there, and then there was a hole in the wall where obviously they would give you food or your tablets. So there was and I think that was the first room we walked in where all three of us immediately went, there's something in here that you can just feel, or you can just feel if whatever's gone on all the time, you can just pick up on that energy and feel that energy around you. Like for me, as soon as I walked in there, I was like, right, there's something, obviously it's just, I don't know, there was just a weird sort of feeling I felt. And you just sort of felt like there was someone sat in the corner just crying, or they're lost, or they, struggling for whatever reason. So then obviously we set the cat balls up. But I think it was you straight away, wasn't it, Carl, who heard the noises at the beginning as we was calling out from the office at the back of that room?
Yes. Yeah, there was tapping coming from the room right behind us, which I think would have been the staff area that keep an eye on the patients.
Yeah.
Coming from in there, and the footsteps and the things that was going on, and the atmosphere in that room, like you say, was changed really quickly.
Yeah, definitely. What about your first thoughts of that room, Bob, or your thoughts within? As we
well, I thought like I say, when we approached it and we went in there, I'm sure I heard noises coming as soon as we got in there. I'm sure I heard something just as we went down the corridor, and obviously when we was upstairs, I heard like a sigh or something like that. It was quite crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first thoughts, I think, it was exciting to actually, if we ever come across anything like a shadow and that, great evidence, you know what I mean? But in that place, you never knew what was going to happen, and it was really interesting. I found it, especially in them rooms, you don't know what to expect when you go in them rooms, and what you're going to find. I mean, there's obviously stuff there that when it's been there for years and years and years, because it's been occupied by obviously that asylum. But you know what I mean? And seeing all them other things that when we went into that room, I can't remember what they were. They were like beds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That was quite weird. Yeah, it was very interesting, and the history is amazing as well. What I've been listening to on YouTube, it's fantastic. Absolutely brilliant place.
Yeah, I recently I've sort of got the feeling on the last say 3-4 investigations that how it's working for us at the minute, we've been taken on a journey. Like sometimes you just wander around the place, whatever happens. But like recently, I just feel more like, so you're in a room, then you'll hear a noise, so you're like, you know, and then it's like we said about New Church, you know, the way you walk around that cemetery and the way you sort of drawn around that, it's really bizarre, and I feel that's what's happening with us recently.
Yes.
And then obviously once we left that room, obviously like you say, we did get tapping and a few noises, but the cat balls didn't get off. There wasn't too much activity as such. So then obviously we left that room and we have to carry on walking around. And then obviously we got to the end of the corridor again on the right hand side, which is pitch black, quite eerie because obviously it's so dark. And then, you know, I think sometimes your minds play tricks on you where you think you're seeing something. Obviously, then you shine your torch and it's just a door, for example. And then it was obviously when we come upstairs then onto that second floor of the building is when I walking up them, because obviously I walked up the stairs first. It's instant feel there was someone at the top of the stairs. I don't know why. It was just something freaked me out. There's something creepy about that. But as soon as we're on that second floor, I didn't feel at that point that anything was around us. Sort of as we got onto the floor, as we were walking around that second floor. Obviously, as I was filming, I just thought, well, we'll just keep looking around anyway, 'cause it's a cool place. If anything happens, it happens. But obviously, I know you, Carl, you end up seeing some not so nice stuff on walls. Obviously, one of the things, I think, was it me and Bob saw it, or me and you? I know it was one of us, where it said, he's coming, make sure you run or something. Obviously, part of you like, well, there's probably kids been in here writing on walls, or is it writing from when it was obviously the hospital? But obviously, like I say, you saw some not too pleasant stuff, so I'll let you tell people about that.
Yeah, sure. When we went up the stairs in the corridor, there was it looked to me like a satanic symbol on the wall. It was a circle with two triangles interlaced with each other. Yeah. And when we went, that's when I had the feeling that there was something either being conjured up in there through some of the means, like a Ouija board or something, but something just felt a little bit off. Mm-hmm. And then, as you said about the room where it said he is coming, it kind of made sense a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it being used for, like you say, something not in the best of sort of situations? What about you, Bob? Because I know there's quite a bit of writing.
Yeah, well, I didn't know about these, obviously, some symbols until obviously you said about it. But yeah, I mean, there could be something demonic going on there. I don't know. As long as they ain't doing sort of like crucifixes and stuff like that, yeah. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, you never know what actually you're going to come. But actually seeing them signs, yeah. I mean, I didn't see them myself. You showed me at the end I think it was on the footage. But yeah, crazy, absolutely crazy. You know what I mean? But I found it more. I think I found it more. How can I say uneasy downstairs than I did up. I've got to say, I felt upstairs wasn't as bad as down. Because I think you said, Carl, we're sure there's more energy downstairs than there is up here. And lo and behold, what happened? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. Like I say, we'll get into that. So we was in, obviously, the hospital for about 2 hours, wasn't it, roughly?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, like I agree with you there, Bob. Like, that second floor, I was absolutely fine. I just thought, I don't really sense anything around us, don't feel anything. The odd noise, but at the same time, it's hard to debunk certain noises. If there's tapping behind us, like on a window, which we did experience in that first room, can't explain that. But when it's like tapping from, say, further down the corridor, you don't know, it could be a rat, it could just be a bird, there could be a rational explanation to that.
Exactly.
But like you say, I felt quite relaxed on that second floor. It was just, like you say, a cool place looking round. But when, obviously, we thought about the third floor, but there was obviously the scaffolding, weren't it, supporting, so obviously no chance. That's not safe. So then we obviously went back downstairs and into the ground floor after spending some time upstairs, calling out, not really getting much. And then it was walking back down the corridor, obviously saw the canteen. Well, it said welcome originally, so I thought it was the main entrance to get into, obviously, the asylum, or what was the main entrance. Obviously not, it was the canteen. But it was just weird how I already walked past there, didn't feel anything, and just as soon as just saw that room, just felt drawn to it, so we all went in, and then obviously we set up the music box and a couple of cat balls, and then within, what was it, seconds, minutes, not even minutes,
exactly.
sorry.
As soon as I put them cat balls down, that was it. Because something told me to put them cat balls there. I don't know why, but I just put them individually, separated them, and straight away action. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was interesting, wasn't it? Because obviously, Carl, you called out to begin with. Music box goes off instantaneously, and obviously there's nothing walking past. We're miles away from it. Like you say, when everyone sees the footage, you can see that for themselves. But what an amazing first piece. You know, we've been in there probably over an hour at that point.
Oh, exactly.
And that was the first solid bit of activity we got. So, Carl, what were your obviously thoughts about what happened in the kitchen area?
I thought it was amazing. Looking back at it, it was like it says where it says welcome when you go into the canteen, and then it was like it was welcoming us in by setting up all the equipment that we had set up. That was really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Like you said, we were miles away from any of the equipment. You know, we were back against the wall. We tried to debunk it, couldn't debunk it. It kept going off instantaneously as we were asking.
That was mad, that music box.
Yeah.
I mean, we're miles away from it, and it's going off like for, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like I say, we done the voice recorder thing, but I think we got some sort of, I don't know.
There's some like weird murmurs and things, weren't they, come through?
It was like it was getting closer because it was getting louder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And then, obviously, Carl heard a female voice in the canteen area or the kitchen area, next door to sort of where the door is into there. But yeah, it was weird that, wasn't it? And a few of the noises what were happening while we was in there. And then I felt something touched my hand. I mentioned that. Something sort of touched the top of my hand.
Yeah, I remember that.
But that was just. But the difference is when we get into what happened later on, when everything, happened and we end up leaving. Obviously, that was just like the spirit being around you. So it's just a gentle touch. It's just it's sort of what you expect to happen when you're obviously feeling spirit around you. But yeah, and that was, like you say, that was our first piece of solid evidence and activity while we're getting there. But that music box going off, I think it went off 4 times, was it? It was about 4 times, 4 or 5 times, I think it was.
It was 4 or 3 times it went off, but like I say, we was nowhere in that area, not at all.
Literally, we're all waving our arms around them there. Well, to make, because we proved the point, didn't we? Because, again, as many of you know, we do like to debunk what we can. And obviously, walking up to the case where the stuff was on, which was probably 5 feet in front of the music box, it still didn't go off. We had to physically walk up to it to make it go off, to obviously make it, like I say, make it go off, but then it was like the energy shift again, weren't it? It was like, boom, flat, gone. So then obviously we took it upon ourselves to go back down back outside onto the main corridor. So now we're going down to the bit which I mentioned is sort of in sunlight. It's not dark down there. And I just remember I was just in front of Carl and Bob, walked straight down to that corridor, looked left, and I went, no chance. Because obviously I come back to you two saying there's something down there I don't like. There's something not nice. I just got that horrible feeling. And then obviously Bob putting out the cat balls. And then we put the music box, didn't we, down by that sort of end where I felt a bit weird. Because obviously at that point I was going to go through the other door, and then lo and behold, straight away, cat ball goes off.
As if to say,
which was absolutely awesome. But it took our attention away, didn't it? Because I was ready to go down. And then obviously we all heard someone going, woo, or something along them lines.
Yeah. Which
obviously Carl picked up on straight away, because obviously you had a few little experiences like that while we were there. But that place, as we get into it now, just got darker. There was something more sinister. I honestly feel that there was something not nice in there. So, go on, Bob, I'll let you start with this one. Obviously, you put the cat balls down. You felt drawn to put the cat balls down, even though we were still wandering.
Yeah, well, I put the cat balls down, and like I say, we moved over to obviously the back of the wall, obviously through the doors. The cat balls was there. Next minute, one cat ball goes off. But then again, previous to that, we decided to put the music box down. And believe it or not, we didn't get nothing, but it drawed us straight back to the cat balls because they was going off for fun.
Yeah.
And we felt like there was a presence around us. I don't know if it was getting closer, but it felt like it was like the energy was very, very strong. And the cat balls just, I don't know, they just like they was trying to answer your questions and stuff like that and direct you away from going down that corridor. That's what I found. Because every time that we thought about approaching that situation and going down there, we didn't. Because the cat ball was going off every time. So it was like it was telling us, don't go down there, it's not a good place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was fantastic. I mean, we got a lot. But as I said, the energy, I found it in that room, that area, it was absolutely amazing because you look straight down between the doors and there's the cat balls there. But only one cat ball went off, and that was always the one by the door.
Yeah.
No, never the other two that were further up the.
Well, again, this is why,
corridor.
obviously, to try and debunk it, we went up there. Obviously, I walked up there. There's no breeze. There was physically nothing to make that cat ball go off. And then, but yeah, I totally agree with Bob there. It's like every time we plan to turn away or something, the cat ball would go off. Just take your attention. And then it wasn't until, from my experience from that, as I said to you guys. So obviously we picked up asking these questions, and obviously mentioned about matron, didn't we? So it started flashing, and obviously my matron's still obviously walking around, looking after the place, and then it was down to you then, Carl, weren't it, when you mentioned about something negative? So I'll let you talk about that bit.
I mentioned about to the matron herself. I said there's something being conjured up in the building that's quite negative, and that's when we had a cat ball go off as well. And we had it was a slight footsteps, and then we had them murmurs, like you say as well, the female voice.
Yeah.
And then, it seemed to me as though something had been conjured up in there, and she was protecting us in a way, trying to lead us away from where this negative energy might be.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think once we got to sort of that point, we're like, right, okay. And I said to you, didn't I? I said that corridor just looks like it's getting darker and darker and darker and darker. It was really bizarre. I can't explain it. But it literally just looked like this black mass was coming towards us. And at that point, I thought, I think we should leave.
Yes.
But me being me, rather than listening to myself, thought, let's just check first. And then all of a sudden, I got touched. And it wasn't nice. And it wasn't, as I mentioned, just spirit maybe touching your hand. It was someone physically prodding me here. It's someone physically prodded me. And obviously I turned to Carl straight away, grabbed his arm and went, what the... was that? Something just physically touched me. Like I said, this is all on the footage, so you will be able to see all this. But it was at that point where we all turned to each other and said, right.
Yeah, we decided to leave at that stage.
Because I think this being touched by a spirit, there maybe, sometimes you get your hair touched or just this smooth, but it was physically someone prodding me. And I think that's not right. That's not normal.
No, to me that's really wants to take over you or something.
Well, this is what I mean. If we would have stayed there, could we have outstayed our welcome? You know what I mean? You don't know, do you? Could something else worse? If we would have gone down that corridor where I originally said something's not nice down there, you know what I mean? We don't know what could have happened.
Yeah, but when you got back, you were so drained. You was tired. Really tired.
Yeah.
It's like they took a bit of the energy out of you. It was mental. Absolutely brilliant, though. Yeah. I mean, if we ever investigate again, I would do outside. I think that's because obviously the graves around that area, that'd be another place to do, I think. But as I said, that was brilliant in there. Absolutely fantastic. But then it got really scary. Especially when that all started. It felt like energy was coming towards us. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
never touched that knack of it. You know what I mean? We had to get out then.
I think the only thing I can sort of put that to a previous experience was the new church. About something coming up towards us and something, it's that same. But none of us, I didn't get physically touched as the other day. But I said to you that I'm not sure if could it have been my granddad saying, come on, shift, move. Could it have been the matron? Or was it something what wasn't
What do you think about that, Carl?
Well, it needs something to make me move, and obviously then I said at that point, right, we need to leave.
Yeah. I mean, as we were leaving as well, we heard things behind us as we were going back down the corridor to leave.
Yeah,
we left the right time anyway. I really
that
do.
place.
But then again, we should have left earlier.
No, it's true. That place just got weird so fast, didn't it? It went from being fine to there's not much really happening, but it's a cool place to. Right, we need to get out.
Oh, definitely.
Our welcome's done now without staying here, so we need to move. And like you say, you don't know what people have been doing in there. Who else have been in there?
Well, more so
with all these things wrote on the wall and whatever.
Yeah, you don't like. I mean, if you'd have stayed in longer, what would have happened?
Absolutely, totally agree.
That's another question.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know, when you really look at it, if we'd have stayed any longer, could it have been more dangerous for us?
Definitely.
Or what?
Totally agree.
Worse.
You don't know, do you? That's the problem.
It felt like it was just following us.
Yeah.
All the time. Yeah.
So guys, that was of course Ridge Lea Asylum. What we was talking about. This is it. Hope you enjoyed that sort of review. Like I said, the footage will be out this week. Just before we do get into our next part of the live show, don't forget we are sponsored, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, by Paranormal Technology, Paratech. You're not just buying equipment, you're buying an experience, so make sure you check them out on Facebook, everybody, and Mark will absolutely look after you. So, we're going to move into, of course, the Lancaster Cemetery to finish this week's episode on. And it was an interesting experience. I didn't realise how big that place was. That place was massive. Because obviously we drove around when we got there beforehand. Big shout out to everybody who joined us on the live as well. It was a great live, and obviously all your comments, it really means a lot, and all your involvement, brilliant. So, and then obviously as we got there, there's just so many old graves and hidden graves again, isn't there, in the overgrown side of things. So obviously Bob will start with you on this. What, as like you say, your first thoughts as we got in there, because I know you were dying to do this. Just sorry, before we do go into it, the original plan was Williamson Park, where Gallows Hill was, where they hung the witches and the prisoners from Lancaster Castle. Then obviously it was just full of sort of people from the uni across the road drinking and stuff, so obviously we couldn't. Then we moved to Lancaster Castle to do the grounds, and again it was just a lot of people sort of around the grounds, so we couldn't really do that. So that's why we obviously then went to the cemetery where Bob wanted to go anyway. So third time lucky. But yeah, sorry Bob. So your thoughts of this place?
Yeah, I mean, when we went in that cemetery, that was amazing. I mean, I didn't realise how big it actually was, like you didn't. But honestly, the history and the things on some of them gravestones is amazing. And you know, when they died and what age they were, it was very, very. I really enjoyed that. But I never realised how big that place was.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was going to go and it's just going to be a little area, but it's not. It's sort of like corresponds with the Ridge Lea, asylum, doesn't it? It's sort of like as long as that, really. But it was amazing. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I mean, the hills, obviously, that was a bit of a problem, but apart from that, that was all right. Yeah, but it was good. Yeah. I mean, I was well impressed with that. And like the little steeples and the churches around there, that was good. But yeah, I mean, I think it was fantastic. It was, how can I say, it was really an eye-opener, I would say. Yeah, because you didn't think it was going to be that big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Go on, Carl. What about you, pal?
Yeah, definitely, mate. It's one of the biggest places that I've seen of a graveyard.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going up to it, you see the gates and that. You go in and you don't expect it to be that big. And then you look to your left and you've got more graves going down to the bottom. You look to your right, you've got another section over the other side. It's so big. And some of the graves, like you said, were like buried under mounds of grass and in trees.
Yeah.
And it's a really interesting place.
Oh, definitely. So, like we mentioned, this place opened in the 1850s. So there's a lot of people in there. But obviously, now going into the investigation, pretty much straight away, we got random noises, what we can't explain. Because I think, like, if you get, for example, you get a bird fluttering in a tree, you gather that's a sound. But the sounds we were experiencing was nothing like that. There's no one else in the graveyard, because everyone was sort of left at that point. There was only about 4 people in there when we arrived. But straight away, there was just random noises, like people walking behind you. Or I think on the live, as soon as we went live, I'm like, what's that behind me? There's something making a noise, or you just feel like you're being followed, or there's just, I don't know, but it depends what was on the ground beforehand. If it being sort of next door to Ridge Lea, could it have been the original sort of gateways into the hospital? Don't know. But like you say, straight away, we just drawn to this tree, weren't it? Between the trees, obviously set the stuff out. Nothing physically happening.
I thought I called it shadow crossing that gravestone.
Yes, you did.
And then we'll get to that in a minute. But like when I put the catball down, it happened, didn't it? I mean, crazy.
Yeah, I think
Crazy.
that was the thing, wasn't it? So again, we all went through experiences through this specific investigation. So like you said, we're drawn there. Get random noises, but nothing physical. Maybe feeling energy, but nothing physical. Then Bob's, boom, there's a shadow over there. And then as soon as we put them cat balls down, obviously spirit box is out, cat balls are going off for fun.
It was mad. Absolutely mental.
What do you, like your first thought, I guess you could say about your thoughts, Carl, on that bit, because that's obviously when things started just ramping up a bit more again.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, with the cat ball going off, like the questions that we were asking, it was going off for answering us. And then when you hear the footsteps, or when you hear things that's not natural to the environment, it's very interesting.
Sorry.
Great investigation. Loved every minute of it. It's really good.
Yeah, it was
I literally just saw something. Obviously, I don't know. Something just caught me out. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
That was weird. And then again, but then we're getting these random noises in the trees, and there's nothing there. There's no birds. There's nothing. But it's like someone stood there and someone sort of walking on the twigs. It was very weird. And then obviously, fast forwarding through the investigation, because many people saw it, obviously without going into too much sort of full detail. And then obviously we said, right, we'll go to the top where the three churches are. One's Catholic, one's Church of England, and there's another one in there for, it might be Baptist or something like that.
Yeah.
And just when we obviously setting off a few things, music box goes funny. It's not playing the music properly, making the weirdest noises.
All equipment just kept crashing down.
Cat ball weren't working.
2 cat balls didn't work. I can't understand why.
It was very weird. And then the spirit box is going all distorted.
Yeah.
But we're not picking any radio up, I don't think, if I remember correctly. Just a lot of weird technical issues were happening at this point. And then it wasn't until, I'd say, that where things got more serious is when we went into the top church, when we all sat down and said, well, let's sit down. And we put the radar pod out, cat ball as well. And then I saw something walk behind you, Carl.
That's right, yeah.
I wish we'd have had that on footage.
I know, because the camera was obviously facing the door.
That was mental. But we did debunk the cat ball because you touched the floor and then the cat ball went off, didn't it?
Yeah, because it was flashing for fun, weren't it? So obviously we reset. See, the other thing again, going back to it, we're taking on a journey again. We're taking to certain points. It's like you take it to this place and then energy flat, boom, up here, come on, follow me. Then we trot off. Again, same kind of thing happening, which has been happening this past couple of weeks on these investigations. But yeah, like you say, when it started settling, and obviously when we were sat there and obviously we saw something walk behind you, Carl, and then you were getting the noises, I think that's when it got interesting. So how were you feeling at that point, Carl? So obviously I mentioned something behind you.
Yeah, I had a feeling that there was someone around us, because I was drawn to where we sat at the first place in that church bit. I had a feeling that there was something around, but couldn't find what it was. And like you say, you saw someone go behind me as well, and I had the same feeling that there was something right behind me at that time.
Yeah.
It was very strange.
And then again, noise next to the sort of the what you think is a mortuary, weren't it? We seem to think.
Yeah.
Noise at the back, right, let's move. Again, taking on this journey, taking for a walk, for a wander. And obviously, I think the music box still went a bit funny, but it started to work again. And that's the way I think we all started picking up on certain things. So obviously, I said to you, Danny, about being shown a video clip in my mind. And then obviously we had the comments on Facebook. Sorry, Bob, what were you going to say?
It was like me and Carl, right? We put it together and we said, over there, by that hut, with a white door. Yeah. There's just something about that, didn't we? Because I said we should go over there. Then when we went over there, I
Yeah.
said, I've got a feeling about that. And then he'd already said, that looks like there's going to be some activity around that area. And we went, and then obviously what happened is amazing. Honestly, brilliant. Yeah. I just want to put that one in there. You know what I mean?
No, I totally agree there. But that part of the investigation was amazing. Obviously, we picked about the lady. Obviously, if I remember correctly, I have to watch the video back. But obviously, about her running, was that as if she had escaped and she was hiding or something, weren't it? And then the feeling that there were people coming up the graveyard, searching. But the interaction we got off that the cat ball was unbelievable. Honestly, I didn't anticipate anything like that happening.
I think it was amazing because you had images in your head on what was actually happening to this girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I thought, how's he getting all this? And then when you're asking the questions, the cat balls are going off.
Yeah.
You said like she was being chased or something like that. I think something like that. Them words.
Yeah. I could literally. It was literally like I was watching a video clip in my mind. It was very. I've had that when I've done. You know, when we've been at church, when obviously me and Carl were at church and giving readings, and we used to like I was standing on the rostrum giving messages. That's sort of how I see it. Like some people may physically see something or hear. Like I just see it like a video. But like you say, even Carl picking up on names and like you say, the situations you picked up on as well. I thought it was absolutely awesome, and we tried to debunk, and we physically couldn't. So it was absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome.
I think it's to do with the energy. I think the energy feeds off the three of us, and we all get something out of it. It's amazing because I think we're drawn to certain things, drawn to certain names. We're drawn to certain areas or whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever it is. Yeah. I think it's amazing that we combined as we do, because we always bring something out to put out there. You know what I mean? So people can understand that we don't. If something's going to be debunked, we'll debunk it and we'll say it's not right. But when it really happens, it's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
See, this is what I like about it, because obviously when you're in the time and everything going on, you sort of don't hit you as such. Obviously, you're reading the comments, everyone watching. Well, it's only until, like you say now, it's been a couple of days and you sort of sat and thought about it, and as we're talking about it now, I look back and go, like I do this sometimes, because sometimes, obviously, I'm a bit like, that was pretty cool. But it doesn't, I mean, and then a couple of days later, when we re-talk about it and revisit what happened, I'm like, actually, we had an unbelievable investigation and got some amazing evidence and amazing feedback from everyone on Facebook. So yeah, that was, like you say, that was more of a quicker rundown, because obviously a lot of people did see it on Facebook. So if you go on Facebook, guys, for those who haven't, it is on there, so you can watch it back. But so to finish, obviously, this week's sort of episode off, Carl, we'll start with you. How would you sum up in sort of, say, 3 words, I'll say, how would you sum up the last 2 investigations from last week?
Yeah, amazing. Brilliant, and looking forward to the next ones. We seem to be getting a lot of stuff.
Yes. What about you, Bob? So you got 3.
It's outstanding. I think it's brilliant, and I think the atmosphere is great.
Yeah.
That's how I would sum it up anyway.
No, it is. And like you say, we've mentioned in the past, haven't we, about teamwork and, the fact that we all gelled together, and when Denise and Susan with us as well, everything's just gelling so well. And like you say, I'm pleased to have everyone on board and be a part of the Paranormal Living team. And I think for me to sum up is honesty, because like you say, we are honest, amazing, and I'd say freaky because I got physically touched on Wednesday, but they're my 3 words. So guys, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's episode of Paranormal Tuesday. We will be back next Tuesday. We'll be live. We'll be back to live, of course, next Tuesday at 7:30. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I will, for all your comments you have obviously commented, we will look at them on Facebook and get replying to you. We will be live, of course, this week. We will be live on Saturday night, due to obviously football being on Friday. Obviously everyone watching Euros, including myself. I thought Saturday is a perfect day to go live. So Saturday night we will be live 9 p.m, of course, GMT time. And of course we're hoping to do a live, aren't we, this week at some point as well.
We are.
Obviously like we did originally.
I'm leaving it to you. Where do you want to go?
I've got plans. Don't worry. I've got really exciting locations actually planned.
That one in the Doodah where we were going to go, I think that'd be a good one. But like I say, you've got to think when you're going to do it, because of all the people and stuff like that. Or
Yeah, definitely.
you might have other ideas that you haven't told
I've
us
got a list, so we're all good. So, Carl, thank you very much, buddy, for coming on this week.
No problem. Thank you for having
Much
me, mate.
appreciate. Of course, Bob. Cheers for
Yeah,
coming on
be
with us,
safe.
bud. Yeah. So, guys, thank you very much. Like I say, make sure you keep an eye on the socials. Like I mentioned just before we do finish, two likes or 500 at this point today, and then you have your chance to win yourself some Paranormal Living merchandise.
Don't miss it.
I know. So get sharing, get liking, and then, like I said, we will be live, of course, this weekend and Thursday, all being well. So excited, apprehensive, because obviously we've had an amazing couple of weeks. So, what else is going to happen next? Who knows? But thank you for tuning in, guys. Stay safe, look after yourselves. See you soon.
Be safe.
Take care.